Half a Day Guam. I'm Adriana Cotero, and I am joined with Allison Rutter, a co-founder of PPE for Guam. It's a community organization, and they've been doing such great work since COVID-19 has come here and infected our island. So first and foremost, Allison, thank you for speaking with me, and thank you for the work that you are doing.
Oh, thank you for having us. And first of all, it's not just me, it's hundreds of volunteers. I just happen to have the phone and the Zoom link.
Yes, as you said, a lot of volunteers. And so for those that don't know, PPE for Guam is a community organization, and they're creating emergency homemade personal protective equipment to be used in the case that traditional commercial PPE is unavailable. So, as we know, globally, there are shortages with PPE gear, and the work that you guys are doing right now will save lives. So if you could just outline how the community organization came to be and how you guys have all these volunteers and when it started.
Sure. We're only a few weeks old at this point. We're entirely a volunteer-run organization. It just happened with my friend Cyrus and I were sending research links back and forth. We were looking into 3D printed PPE solutions. We were seeing what other groups are doing in other countries, including the mainland US, and just trying to collect information, seeing how we could help. And it spiraled from there. We found that solutions for masks are based from cloth and homemade materials do well to both stop the filtration of some particles and also provide some breathability. We found that 3D printed materials work better for face shields versus masks, but that everything's changing honestly day by day. So trying to keep up with that research is important. So it just branched out. We neither of us can sew, and we just reached out to friends and family and said, hey, want to be involved, and people do. So here we are.
So you said about 2 weeks in, right? Since the start of
I got to sit down and think about it, but I think we're about 3+ weeks in at this point. Things change every day. I mean, it's even hard to keep up with all the generous donations that people are coming in. We have a GoFundMe account, and we're getting donations that are being used to supply the materials to sewists and 3D printers, where we have a space donated by Addis Trust to use. The Rotary Club of Tremont Bay donated $700 to us. And again, this is entirely a volunteer-run effort. So every day the community surprises me, and we're just churning to get PPE to the hands of healthcare workers right now.
So just to dive a little deeper into all these efforts that you were just mentioning, let's start with the new office space. It's the first floor of the Ada Place Center in Hagåtña, correct? And
yes.
It was donated. So if you want to just explain a little bit about what this office space is used, is it a central hub for coordinating efforts? Do volunteers come here? Is this where you guys put the material?
So, all of the above. So yeah, it's turned into like a central hub for pickup and drop-offs. So you can come and pick up mask kits or fabric to make masks to sew and bring back. We have a partnership with Goodwood, which is a company that does 3D printing. So we have Aaron Ferrer's printers set up there, and they're printing away. We will have we'll have pre-cut materials. We have volunteers just coming in for more information. And we're also partnering with Grab and Grub to actually do some drop-offs and pickups of PPE from our volunteers as well. So all of this is happening really fast, and I think that we'll continue to see all of these developments, and it's been exciting. But all of this is to supply PPE for the healthcare workers. So getting them in the hands of providers at GMH and GRMC and our local clinics as well. The supply is greater than the demand, and until we see worldwide supply catching up with actual PPE, these solutions that we're creating locally, we can't get enough of it. So call for volunteers, open call for volunteers. We have a website, ppeforguam.com. We have a Facebook group page. You can search PPE for Guam and find out more. But things are evolving every day. I recommend you stay abreast of the situation by contacting us on those platforms.
So a lot of different community partners coming into play with this and a lot of volunteers. How does that, I mean, how do you feel? I mean, you guys just started, you said yourself and Cyrus had this idea and now seeing it expand into this big project and everyone wanting to be a part of it and help out, where you said that you have more supply than for the demand. I mean, that's incredible. And this is all in an effort to be prepared.
Yes. You know, we will never have, I should correct myself, we will never have enough supply currently. I want to say that just because we're constantly seeing a need, and these materials will need to be refreshed as well. So until the worldwide supply source catches up, we're working very closely with the GMH and GRMC, Civil Defense, and such to make sure that we're getting them what they need and what they require within our bounds. I mean, again, volunteer run, purchasing through donations, what we can get on island and what we can quickly get from off island. It's a moving target, but I do believe that we're coming together and creating some solutions for some of these gaps that our healthcare providers are seeing.
And did you guys set any goals early on, and have they been reached, or what is the ultimate goal as well?
Great question. So we didn't set any initial goals, but this week we have set an aggressive goal of making 1,000 face shields and 500 face masks. I don't want to, pull the cat out of the bag, but we are well on our way to that goal. That goal, we're just going to set a more aggressive goal and see what our community members can provide, because those goals only go so far to help our healthcare providers wear PPE. So we've got a, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but we wanted to give them some interim goals to show that they're accomplishing good work.
And let's just talk about the different gear that you do create. So there's face shields, there's masks, and then also they're do-it-yourself ones then too? Or like,
sure, yeah.
Fill them up, if you could just explain.
Right, so we're focused on 3D printed face shields, and so what that is it sits on your head, and then there's a transparency that gets clipped into it. So there's a piece of elastic, there's a 3D printed visor portion, and then there's a shield. Now we're collecting transparencies for that shield portion, and that 3D printed portion can be reused as long as it's sanitized correctly. With the masks, we have some patterns and instructions available on our platforms and our website. Those are pre-approved by the hospitals, but in reality, we're accepting all well-made masks. We do have suggestions, and we do have materials for the patterns we recommend at our headquarters. But really, right now, again, the demand is greater than supply, and we could use everything we can get.
And so what's it like to create one of these face shields? Is it a long process?
A great question. We've Department of Education, their teachers have really banded together, and with their 3D printers, they've been able to produce them probably one every hour and 4 minutes, an hour and a half. It's really dependent on 3D printers and their settings. Goodwood is able to produce 2 every hour per printer. So we have at this point, I would say, over 20 3D printing volunteers. They're using their own equipment at home. We're able to supply filament to them thanks to generous donations, so that they can pick up and continue to print shields. Those are the things we're trying to churn out, but we're also playing with specialized valves to work with snorkel masks to perhaps prevent aerosolized viral contamination using some hospital equipment. We're looking into printing face mask gaskets so that you can apply this material called a halyard wrap that does better filtration than cotton. So we're still looking into novel solutions, but at the same time, we know what they need, and that's cloth masks and face shields. So we're just trying to get those out there.
Interesting with the snorkel mask. Like you said, everything is constantly changing, and you guys are continuing to learn and grow as you go.
Yep.
So that's very interesting that you mentioned that with the snorkel mask.
Yeah, well, it's we're learning a lot from what other countries and states have doing, but it's a localized need. We're getting feedback from local medical professionals saying, "Oh, this face shield needs to be a little wider," or we're toying around with this idea. I saw this YouTube video. Can you look into it? And that's what we're doing. So it's trying to respond to the local need. And I have to tell you, I get to spend portions of my everyday seeing how the community is responding.
And how do you feel seeing how the community is responding? What are your initial thoughts, or what is some of the feedback that you've received?
Well, when I don't feel like a chicken with my head cut off, and again, I'm blessed to be working full time, so I get to spend my nights and weekends seeing how the community is pulling together, and it's lovely. It'll be lovelier when our healthcare providers feel safer, and see the community, fully see the community's impact, and that everybody's working together for them. And I also have to interject that this is not to say that the administrations for either hospital aren't providing, because they are. We are all, everybody's hands are tied around the world in the medical community. Supplies are scarce, and the infection control departments, the materials departments, the clinicians, the doctors, the nurses, the respiratory therapists, everybody is, we're soliciting all opinions, and everybody's working together toward this common goal, which is to keep people safe. And that is beautiful to see.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can never be too prepared either, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And
I was just going to say, one last thing is, the goal of this effort would be to hope that we're no longer needed. Of course, our medical professionals would want to have actual N95 respirators, masks, commercially produced face shields. Of course they want that, but when they can't get it, we're trying to be that stopgap for them.
And how many volunteers in total do you have right now? I know you had mentioned DOE educators that are coming in and helping with the printers as well, but in total, even making the mask, the hand-sewn mask too?
It changes every day. I think we're up to about 300. It goes, I had a phone call the other day. Hi, Connie, if you're watching, who was asking about purchasing a 3D printer because she thought that her sewing, she wasn't able to produce enough masks in time. And I said, no, Connie, that's not right at all. I can't sew. I'm answering the phone because I can't sew, and you can, and no one's saying you're too slow. If you produce one mask, that's one health provider that has that mask. So play to your strengths. And I hope there are hundreds of Connies out there that see this and get involved.
With that being said, how can people get involved? And I'm sure you're still accepting volunteers all the time.
Always, yes. So go to our website, ppeforguam.com. We also have a Facebook group for volunteers. And once you get involved there's a survey that you can fill in. We'll know your skills then, and we'll contact you. We might add you to some WhatsApp groups. But we'd like to get everybody involved. We'll find something for you to do. Again, this is a group of volunteers, so apologies if you have to practice more patience than you're used to, but we're working this hard, and I'm really hoping that the healthcare providers of Guam get to see more of the fruits of our labor. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, learning and growing every day, even if that means patience, right?
That's right. We're, the incredible patience and kindness of this community is, again, incredibly humbling. And, I get to see the helpers every day, and that's just so fun.
Yeah. So you also, you've also been in close contact then with some of the healthcare professionals and the first responders and those that are more at high risk of being contaminated or infected because of their work then?
Sure. Yeah, we're always soliciting feedback on the products we're putting out from healthcare professionals. So reaching out to the community and saying, hey, here's a prototype. Can you give us feedback? Most importantly, we're working closely with GMH and GRMC and Civil Defense for them to give us feedback, for them to tell us what they need. But I do encourage any healthcare provider seeing this to reach out either through their organization network or to us directly, and we can at least tell you how we're trying to help you.
All right. Well, Allison, anything else you want to add?
The more volunteers, the better. I'm already going to thank everybody who's volunteered or donated or put up with me doing this. Thanks, Mom. But really, just thank you, and thank you for getting the word out for us.
Well, before we head out of here, I just want to say how people can volunteer again. So that's ppeforguam.com. That's the website. Yes. Or there is PPE for Guam email, the email, right?
Yeah, that's right. And 4 is FOR versus the number, just to
okay, so ppeforguam.com, and then same for PPE4Guam@gmail. They are also on Facebook and accepting donations through their GoFundMe to help purchase any more materials as well. And as Allison had said, they are always accepting volunteers and donations. And, you know, thank you, Allison, for speaking with us, and thank you for the work that you are doing along with all the other volunteers. And thank you all for watching. Again, that was Allison with PPE for Guam, and they are spending their free time in helping our frontline heroes right now. And that is by making these protective, this PPE gear, and they're doing it. I mean, it's amazing work. When I heard about it even weeks ago, I immediately messaged Cyrus and I asked him about it. And so it's been something I'm happy to continue to follow. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, Allison. And thank you again, Allison, PPE for Guam. And to volunteer, you can visit ppeforguam.com.